Hello, Jim Manning again. I'm the author of Patriotism Unhinged, available worldwide through online retailers, and it's available all over the world. I am going to give you a rendition of my opinion, the comprehensive opinion of what happened in the Kennedy assassination. I'm going to do it in a series of videos. I think this will be good because there's people of so many different ages that ask questions and they don't know certain things. So I'm going to start with what I think is the beginning and move on through one at a time. So this is where we're going to start. I think the place to start is with Joe Kennedy. Joe Kennedy, a brilliant man, but a person who probably had psychiatric problems, as well as being a brilliant person. He married the daughter of the Boston mayor, because that was a good match. He worked in the stock market and was very, very good at it. And as he made money, he got into other things, like he got into movie business. I think he was attracted to the movie business because of his ability to do some couch casting. He became involved in the liquor business. Being Irish, he was able to secure contracts with Scotch and Irish whiskey companies. And whenever the United States had prohibition, he would be selling a lot to Canada, and that was finding its way to the people that wanted to sell it in the United States. And so he was in relationships with gangsters, probably all over the country, but he especially was doing well in Chicago with the commonly called Chicago outfit and Al Capone. Now, sometime along the way, he crossed Al Capone. I don't think it's really ever mentioned what he did. It is known that Al Capone took out a contract for a hit on him. The way that he was able to stop it was that he took 2 large suitcases full of cash and went to Chicago and explained some way to Al Capone, and he was forgiven. That remained sort of a connection with the Chicago outfit. By the time his son was going to run for the presidency, he knew that Chicago, most of Chicago was in favor of the Democrats. But to make sure, he made a deal. I don't even know if he told his son, both sons, what he did, but he made a deal with the Chicago outfit that if they were to be able to deliver the state of Illinois in the election and to deliver the state of West Virginia in the election, that he would see to it that they reduced their fervor of doing away with the mob. Robert Kennedy had taken Carlos Marcello apart. He was picked up, thought he was going to a meeting of the immigration authorities, and instead he was dropped off in the middle of the jungle in Guatemala. It took him at least 3 days, and maybe as many as 5, to walk out of that jungle and to get food and clothing and so forth. He never forgave Robert Kennedy for that, and made the comment to a lot of people that if you cut off the head, the tail will die. He was right. You kill the president, Bobby Kennedy has no more power. And so that's the reason he got involved in it. Now, Joe Kennedy made a promise that they would lighten up against the mob and the outfit. Never happened. He gave that promise to the mob. The Chicago outfit probably went as high as Lansky, because that would have been something that would have affected all of the known gangster affiliates. But the pursuit of the mob did not stop. And so they were already upset about him reneging on the deal.
When the Kennedys were coming up, his father was not the most straight. You know, he was Joseph Kennedy. He was a big part of the market manipulation. I think when Roosevelt hired him to bring him in and say, listen, what do we need to do here? And they came out with fingerprinting for licensing. The guy came out with SEC. So he was very much involved in 100%. Knowing how to manipulate the marketplace. He was involved with the mob based on some of the stories you read about. Strong personality. So then you read and say, well, the mob helped Kennedy get elected. I don't know that. I'm asking you. So my first question is the answer to that yes? And two, once Kennedy got elected, the follow-up is, it's been said that once he got elected, they try to distance themselves from the mob to look like they were good, so nothing would happen. The mob got upset about it, and when they got upset about it because they couldn't fulfill their commitments they made to the mob said, we got to do something about it, and they went about doing what they did to hire who they hired, to shoot him, and then et cetera. When he walked off, the mob killed him. Now, this is some of the stories. Obviously, a lot of this is conspiracy. But one of the best conspiracies to read about is Kennedy. People are so fascinated by it. Having said that, what do you know about the JFK situation there?
Well, understand, my father is through that whole era, and many of the guys that I knew were through that whole era. So all I ever heard, and that I know to be true, okay, and there's no upside in me saying this. I'm not writing a book about it, nothing. But there's no question that Joe Kennedy was involved with it. He was a bootlegger.
There's no question.
No question.
Okay.
And I know for a fact that somebody wanted to kill Joe Kennedy during those times, because I heard that he was robbing money, wasn't doing the right thing, and his life was spared. Okay?
This is 40s? This is 30s?
This is in the 40s, 50s,
okay.
During that era.
Got it.
He was a bootlegger. You're not a bootlegger unless you're dealing with us guys. That's it. Okay, no question also, okay, that through his father, John Kennedy we wanted him in the White House, and he was a connection as far as we were concerned. So yes, through Chicago, through Louisiana, they did help him get elected.
They did help him get elected.
Union votes and so on.
You
and
know
so
about this.
I know this for a fact.
Okay, got it.
And now, the government's never going to want anybody to know this. They're going to call me a liar and all that kind of stuff, but that's the truth, Patrick. And as far as the assassination, I mean, come on. Did Jack Ruby come out of nowhere? I mean, he had all of a sudden these mob ties didn't mean anything. If you had mob ties with me, they would want to say it all over the world. Oh, you're connected with the mob. All of a sudden, Ruby, who was connected with the mob, now they're saying he wasn't, you know? They never want it to be known that the mob had a hand in that assassination because it makes them look horrible. Government doesn't want anybody to know that. But, I mean, I've heard that consistently throughout my whole tenure in that life, all the time. You know, Giancana in Chicago and
so when he got killed, you're saying the assassination is linked back to the mob?
Yes. Now, again, it's been said, it's not true, he's a liar. I have no upside in saying this, other than this is what I know to be true throughout my whole time in that life. I heard it from my father, I heard it from everybody that I know that was in that era. I was there, I was younger, obviously. I mean, I wasn't coming up at that time, but it was shortly after. I mean, I got recruited in the 70s. It was a couple of years after he was killed. So that story was fresh.
The next thing that happened, I believe, the time between Kennedy's election and inauguration, there was a meeting, an unplanned meeting. Robert Kennedy had started to open up his office over at the Attorney General's office. And while he was there, a person came to the office and identified himself with a card that said he was a feature writer, I believe, for the Russian paper Izvestia, and that he would appreciate just an introduction to Mr. Kennedy and wouldn't take up any time. Well, that meeting started a relationship between the Soviet Union and the upcoming administration of the Kennedys. That became a problem for a lot of people. The Kennedys saw it as a potential way to communicate. The Joint Chiefs and the military-industrial complex and all the people that the money people saw it as a big loss, because what could be worse for them than the United States and the Soviet Union at peace with each other? We will tell you more about it. I think he decided that he wanted to try as hard as he could to get along with the Soviet Union.